Hello. After the full moon, which has been quite disastrous for me, well, actually very exciting. I'm going to tell a story today. I haven't done a video for quite some days. I've been really going through a challenging time. I think a lot of us have. But this story today may seem very far-fetched. It is to me, but I was undecided whether to tell it or not. But I think it might help somebody. We are this new age stuff. We are all going through some very peculiar times, and things that we haven't experienced before. And this is something that I did find quite difficult to understand, but I've accepted it as something which is, I've worked very hard for. I mean, myself and other people who are my generation, we are what we call wayshowers. We have travelled through the darkness, bringing a new energy to the earth plane, and we are exhausted, to be honest, but also I think we deserve a gold star, a reward even. Well, this is something quite profound. Take it or leave it, as they say with the tarot readings. I just wanted to share it because I've got no one else to talk to about it, and I'm bursting with all this information, and it does help me as well. So it started off really, I'm meditating here, and I came to this meditation about a week ago. I was just shaking all over. I do get that sometimes, but this was really severe, and I was quite frightened. My whole body was shaking. I had to go to bed to lie down and recover from it. And that night I woke up and my whole body seemed to have seized up. I mean, I stood up, but I was aware it was aching, it was shaking, and I thought, oh gosh, what's happening? I wasn't afraid of dying so much. It was afraid of not knowing what to do. So I obviously got back into bed and hoped that the morning would bring a new insight. And then that following day, I said, look, folks, and I don't usually get answers, as you know, one of my complaints. I probably do, but not, obvious answers. And I said, I need to know what's happening to me. I really am quite worried and quite afraid, and we're not supposed to feel afraid. Anyway, the answer came that my whole nervous system was being realigned. Well, I mean, the nervous system, that apparently is the bridge to consciousness and to higher energies. And I think a lot of my generation, we've come in with a very old, ancient, from different planetary systems. The nervous system does need realigning for this new age. But I mean, I'm here on my own. I'm thinking, it is a frightening thought when you get all this stuff going on in the physical body and you're in your head still. I feel a bit like Socrates, was it, when he took the hemlock? And not everyone knows that story, but Socrates took hemlock, and hemlock actually kills the nervous system from the feet upwards, and he slowly died as he went more and more numb as it reached his heart. Of course he did die. So this is I was like, what do I do? So anyway, I think it was the following day, I got a beautiful master called Maharaji. I expect some of you have heard of him. He's now called Prem Rawat, if you want to look him up on the internet. He's a fantastic, well, he's a cosmic. He's helped me a lot. He's more than just a master. He's come for the age, the new age. He's a teacher for the new age. He's American, but he's Indian born, and he's not just one of these chaps in white robes. He's an airline pilot, very, very beautiful. And the thought came to me to watch Raji. I've known him for 30, 40 years actually. So I switched him on the internet and I just was sobbing and sobbing. It was really quite amazing. The love that was coming from him was quite amazing. And I just suddenly, it was really weird, but I felt as though he was like taking away this whole energy that I built up over many years, many lifetimes even, just dissolving it. And I had just allowed it to happen, I suppose. But afterwards I felt really quite joyful and then very sad, thinking, oh gosh, is this the sign of a depression? Because sometimes it does happen to me. I go really down for quite a time, then have to come up again. And I was on the one hand thinking, well, I'm sure my trusting bit, I know Miraji, when he does help, he was the one that helped with the darkness that time. I did a video about that, and so I could trust him completely, and it obviously was spontaneous because I was just watching him and this all happened. So for a few hours afterwards, I was a little bit thinking, what's going to happen to me? Oh gosh, And I said, look, and when we get rid of that much darkness, it's almost we have to replace it with something. So I said, could you replace what I've lost with something bright and light? So that felt okay, and I think I went for a couple of days up until the full moon, a couple of days before the full moon in Pisces, and I think it's 3 days before we get the build up, but it was about 3 days before, I guess. And I know I don't know what you'll think, but this did happen, and I'm just relating it as it happened to me. One of the masters, my favourite master, they come to visit, as you know. I've done a video on it. They do come to visit from time to time, and he came for tea. I know this sounds silly, and I don't see him, but I feel his presence, and I'm sure you can guess who it is. Someone who likes, socialising and turning water into wine and stuff. And I thought, I'm losing it. I really am losing it, but I'm sure he's here for tea. It was about 6 o'clock, and I'd fortunately done something vegetarian. He does like vegetarian. And he didn't say a lot, but it was just, I was aware of the presence. He was here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I guess. And the same thing happened the following day. Well, on the third day, I almost rose to my head on the third day. The third day he came, but it felt different. I'm not clairvoyant, as you know, or clairaudient, but clairsentient, and I felt there was a difference. Now, I wouldn't say it was a fearful difference, but I was aware he was there, but with someone or something else. And I just rode it out, really. It lasted about an hour. Then I began to feel very lightheaded, and I said to him, I'm feeling a bit lightheaded. And suddenly, this bright light shot across the room onto the wall opposite. Now, there are several sorts of light. You might not know, I don't know. Soul light is like it's almost like a muted, opaque sort of light. The Christ light is so brilliant and so white, it's like the stars. You really can't look at it. It's brilliant, brilliant light. It shot across the room onto the wall opposite. I wouldn't say it was in the shape of a man, but it had patterns. And I do get those sometimes in my eyes. When things are going to happen, I get this flickering white light, and it's usually the Christ. I call it the Christ light. And this shot across the room. I thought, oh my Lord, what was that? And it did concern me for a while, although it was light. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was happening. So I'm going to put my glasses on, see what time it is. I don't know, go on too long. 8 minutes. So there's no one to ask, you see. I think there should be an internet site. Maybe I'll start one, although I don't know a lot. You may think I do, but I'm all right talking about bits. But someone should do a website for these sort of questions, because mediumship, that I don't think they reach high enough. It's not cosmic. But this was, I thought, who can I ask? And I can ask all you like inside my head. And what did come was that this was an exchange of energy. Now, after this was all over and I'd recovered somewhat, there were 2 cards on the floor. I don't do tarot, but I've got some cards called the Acacia cards, and these 2 cards were side by side on the floor under the table. I mean, I didn't put them there. They were left there. I thought, wow, I love magic. I love it when things happen like that. They're magical and hard to understand, you know. And one card did say an energy exchange. The other one was something like reflecting. That they're quite profound, and I've had to sort of think about what it really, really means. So I was left with this for a few days, and I'm pretty sure what happened, that was happened to me, and of course it would be different for everybody, but you know, we read about these things, don't we? Perhaps we don't. I assume we do. Years ago, that Jesus, the Christ, you see, Jesus is the master, the man, and the Christ is a separate energy. The Christ is the Christ's mind, the mind of God, and it overshadowed Jesus the Master when he was here. That's as I understand it. And so eventually Christ said, I will come again in the new age. I think it was in the upper room when the disciples, in the age of Aquarius, the new age is Aquarius. So this Christ energy is coming to everybody at different times in different ways and overshadowing the physical body. Now that makes sense to me, because the Christ is a consciousness. It's a Christ consciousness. And do you remember that video I did on From Russia with Love? I think this is a kind of repeat performance of that almost, because it is hard to understand, and I know it's very profound, and a lot of people will probably switch off at this point, but I just have to relate it, because I'm sure somebody will understand it, they've experienced it or will experience it. And so I do feel different. I can't say a lot different, but I do wake up sometimes and thinking, I know I'm changing dimension, I'm changing reality, as they say. Things aren't quite the same. And it is a little bit scary, because you know, when you've been deeply asleep, you wake up, sometimes you wonder where you are. But this is more than that. It's like you've got to reassemble yourself and get grounded again and focused and be every day. I think it's a time of adjustment, probably. I'm just feeling I should stop there. So anyway, I don't know whether you'll make sense of it. You might not, but I just felt that I had to do this today. I'm still not very well, actually. I'm finding it really hard to adjust to this, and unfortunately I do live on my own. I can go to bed if I want to. But it's very powerful, and it was very lovely as well, you know, to have this deep understanding on things. So anyway, there we go. Watch this space. I might dissolve. No, I won't. I'm going to see what time it is. 12 minutes! Oh, sorry, that's too long. Go now. Take care, dear ones. Let me have your thoughts if you've got any. I'd love to know them. Take care. God bless for now. Bye-bye.